welcome to the New Level You podcast. I am your host, Alison Daley, and I am so excited for you to be here with me today. This is the inaugural episode of the New Level You podcast, and I am excited to share with you kind of the premise of this podcast series, share with you my story of burnout and redemption and healing, and share with you kind of the tools, the experiences, the frameworks, the things that I have used through my burnout recovery process to put me back onto the path of authenticity and alignment and joy. One thing is for sure, life is hard, and there are periods in our lives where it's just, for me anyway, there have been multiple times in my life where I just felt like I couldn't move forward, and I felt really stuck. I felt really unhappy, really misaligned. And through the process of kind of, as my dad says, pray and move your feet, I have been able to put one foot in front of the other and crawl myself out of an 18-month burnout and get to where I am today. And so this podcast is going to be aimed to be your friend on this journey of realignment to authenticity. My goal here is to help anyone that is experiencing some form of burnout or is in the early stages of burnout. How can you take some off-ramps to get yourself back into alignment? This is also for anyone experiencing a rock bottom or just a dark night of the soul, and you don't know who you are anymore, how you got here, and where the hell you're going moving forward. So thank you for being on this journey with me. I welcome all questions and thoughts as well. I would love to kind of be a resource to you as you move forward. So send me your questions and your thoughts. But for today, I wanted to kind of just jump in and share with you a little bit about my backstory and how this podcast has become a bit of a reflection of the journey that I have been through. As I said at the beginning, I'm Alison Daley. I am kind of a younger Gen Xer, elder millennial. I graduated high school in 98, so I went to high school with millennials, but technically I am a Gen Xer. I experienced my first rock bottom in 2012 in my early 30s and coming out of back-to-back really unhealthy relationships. I had lived in the Netherlands for 5 years. I'd moved back to my home state of Colorado in 2011. 2012 was when the bottom fully blew out of my life, and I discovered I was a codependent. I didn't even know what that term was, and while I was rebuilding my life in the basement of my friend's house and working in a restaurant, I started the journey of figuring out who the hell I was underneath the programming, the socialization, the religious upbringing, and all the things, and I started to really shed the identity that I kind of had just been socialized into. And as I was being able to shed layers, I was able to welcome in new layers, built my new updated dream life. I really did the manifestation around building in the goals that I had and following that with action and up-leveling my self-worth. And I basically called in my dream life at the time, the beautiful husband. I started a business doing tech recruiter training. I was pregnant within 6 months of getting married. We welcomed in our daughter, and then 9 months later, my mom passed away tragically and surprisingly. It was devastating. And then a month after that, I was pregnant suddenly again, grieving the sudden death of my mom with a 1-year-old and pregnant, and a business that I was getting off the ground while being the sole breadwinner for my family. Incredibly intense, a lot to just one foot in front of the other. I don't even know how I made it through that period. And then our son came, and he was just beautiful and wonderful, and I got my power back after delivering him. And then we celebrated his first birthday in quarantine. And, 2020 was just a year of like everything shifting for everyone. I don't know anyone who wasn't impacted by that. I still think that there's lingering things that we're all processing there. And then my second full rock bottom, I guess I could call it my third, really, if I count the year of grieving my mom and being pregnant and all those things. It was really awful time. But then in 2023, in the spring of 23, the tech market imploded, and My product company served the industry that was one of the most impacted, which was the hiring and the recruiting side of the tech industry. And so right as I was trying to get my business to scale up and get some more support, market imploded, and with it, my business. And I couldn't move forward on sheer will and adrenaline anymore. The model of just running through brick walls to get where I needed to go had met its match, and I basically just collapsed into a burnout starting in the spring of 2023 for a solid 18 months. And then it wasn't until the end of 2024 that I really started to be able to kind of pick my head up and think about, okay, well, who am I? What am I? If I don't have this business, what am I going to do? And at that time also my kids were fully in school, first grade and kindergarten. So the early 5 years of having the little ones was kind of past. So that was great. And I started 2025 with the process of selling what was left of my business, with starting the conversation with my husband about separating and ending the relationship. That it was a process of what am I going to do with my career when the market is absolutely flattened. And then in March of 2025, I got a DUI, and it was divine intervention. I absolutely credit Spirit and the higher powers for delivering me the safest, kind of oddly most gentle DUI I could have gotten. It was in Wyoming. Their rules are a lot more relaxed compared to Colorado. It forced me into 9 months of probation where I also had to be sober, and I got the training wheels around that I needed. And where I am now in December 1st, 2025, compared to where I was 1 year ago today is astounding. And I thank so many things for this process. Number one being my connection to Spirit. This was the year that I really started understanding that I am a fractal of God's source. I'm a fractal of the infinite wisdom who is incarnated in this human body, in this meat suit, for a reason, for an experience, for the growth and development of my spirit, and to be in alignment with deconstructing all the things I was socialized and programmed to prioritize or think was important, and instead start defining for myself what is important, what lights me up, who am I now for this next huge chapter that's coming into my life. And as I've gone on this journey, I have been leveraging all kinds of really cool tools and things that I've been learning. Everything had already been an astrology girly, and I picked up tarot in 2012 with my first Burnout, love tarot, and then in the last year and a half I've been picking up human design, which is absolutely incredible. It's a combination of astrology, I Ching, and other systems. I've really been getting into more of the quantum mechanics. It's so cool to see how physics is finally catching up to spirituality. I can talk about that more as well in future episodes. And then as part of the sobriety process, learning the 12 steps and the surrender to a higher power and the fellowship that is required to change your life. And as part of that as well, I was forced to slow down. And I finally this spring planted my first garden. I had never done that before, ever. I had been wanting to for a few years, and I finally did. And it was prolific and beautiful. Something that brought me outside every evening, something I could do outside with my kids and in the earth, and to see vegetables come forth was just so cool. And as I started healing and feeling a little bit better and cooking better for myself, taking better care of myself, brushing my teeth at night, if anyone understands how low it can get when you're so depressed you can't even handle hygiene, and taking your care of yourself at even the micro level to then be flourishing, and just coming back into my home of my body and myself and the practices that I want to cultivate moving into this new chapter. And as part of that growth process, I have really been feeling that what I've been through is not unique. Anyone that's in their middle age, or even if you're doing your first sort of Saturn returns at the end of 20s, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, while this life is hard. Life is so hard. And especially if you are in Western culture, especially if you're based in the United States, to just slowly pull the wool off of your eyes and notice the machine around us of like how to be a good worker and pay your taxes and be just tired enough that you come home and eat something basic and watch TV and then pass out. Like, versus, well, actually, if we step back from that and we really lean into sort of the bigger picture of, hey, wait a minute, we're supposed to enjoy our life. We're here to have a joyful, aligned life. And if we can slowly start to align our choices, our environment, our relationships to the things that light us up, the things that propel us forward and give us energy and joy, then that's how we manifest our dream life. And that's a key tenet of the human design sort of ethos, is like we are all born here with a specific blueprint for how to live our best life. And just imagine if everyone on planet Earth did the thing that lit them up. As we do the thing that lights us up, it gives us joy. It gives us energetic prosperity. It gives us this level of abundance that creates overflow, and then we can give to others from our overflowing cup. And just imagine if all the friends around you, all the relationships around you were doing the thing that lights them up. What a gorgeous world we would be in, right? Like, there's a reason you have an inkling and a deep down desire to like have an Airbnb on Lake Michigan, but you've been told your whole life you should sell insurance or you should be an accountant and you save up your pension. And then, like that programming is, we're literally watching these structures of patriarchy, white supremacy, capitalism, this sort of like tiered structure of extrinsic power over, right? Hierarchy. And where are you in the matrix? And be obedient. But we're seeing how you can be obedient, still get laid off. Like, if anything, the system is consuming itself, right? Like, I'm not going to go deep into that. That's for a whole nother episode. But like, as these structures around us are crumbling, there is such a movement to go within and to pick up hobbies again, to pick up a slower life. Actually, I don't need another pair of shoes or whatever the consumerism has been telling us, but we should do the thing that lights us up. And when we do that thing, it creates so much space and so much joy and so much abundance. And it's just a very exciting time to be in the world and to see how the internet has democratized access to information, to personal growth, to income, revenue. There's so many ways of making money now. It is incredible. For example, one of my kids' early favorite YouTube channels was this awesome creator. I think she's Japanese, and it's like a finger baking channel. And she's basically created this entire little mini set of a kitchen with like countertops and a stove and a little vase with flowers and a little window and her little fingers. And she'll make like a 3-layer unicorn cake, professional level, so sweet, so endearing. She's had 4.5 million views in a year and a half, right? Like, she's making revenue off of creating a set and doing what is so whimsical and joyful. It creates joy for others to watch and experience, right? That's her joy. And now she's giving joy to others whilst paying her bills. If that's not a motivator, tell me what is for you in your life. There's so many ways of validating for ourselves, hey, wait, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's such a key thing with manifestation and the subconscious, like neuroplasticity of it, is if our subconscious needs to see to believe something is possible, look for those examples all around you. I have been asking for guidance, like, what is this next chapter professionally of my life going to be? And through listening to podcasts and music and just being online, so many examples of really powerful female creators, coaches, people walking in alignment with their energy, sharing their spiritual or guiding gifts. Also, masculine creators as well, from authors and podcast hosts to even people who have their own Substacks or their TikToks where they're talking about what they're learning and growing through, right? Like, now is the time, and we're seeing so many examples of people coming online, being themselves. And one thing led to another, and it was like, girl, Alison, do it. Stop thinking about it. Stop, dreaming about it. There are so many things that I have to share, that I have experienced, that I have gone through as a business owner, as a wife, as a divorcing woman, as a parent, as a daughter who's lost a mom and helped her dad move into the senior community. There are so many things that I have been through. I am wired. I'm a 1-3 generator in human design. We'll talk about that in a later episode, but I am wired to research and learn everything. I'm the friend that knows a little bit about everything, and people come to about politics or climate or spirituality or business. And the 3 part of me is that I experience all of this so that I can go and share the experience with others. And finally, I was like, lady, just freaking do it. What are we doing, right? They talk about how with timeline jumps, and as you change who you are, there's so much that happens inside of us first, right? Where we're trying to answer these questions of who am I? How did I get here? What do I want it to look like moving forward? What am I going to have to release to make space? What am I going to receive as I call in? That as we do all this growth, there comes a point where it's like, all right, babe, time to jump into that new life. Enough thinking about it. What does your dream life person look like? For me, she wakes up early, 4:35 in the morning. She gets a full 60 to 90 minutes on her spirit work, on her journaling, on her gratitude practice, her meditation, and then she eats something nice for herself, makes a nice breakfast, then has a purposeful part of her workday, and so on and so on. And there came a point where it's like, all right, I just need to be her. And that's called quantum life jumping, and just really stepping into what is this new life, timeline shifting. And so part of that is I want to create content. I want to share what I've learned. I want to share my energy with others. I want to hear your questions, hear what you're going through, share with you what I've been going through. And together we help elevate consciousness. Raising tides lifts all boats. To be very clear, I don't have a degree in psychology. I am not a licensed what have you, but I have a full experience of living life and learning from it with my eyes open and my heart open. And I just love human beings. I love humans. They're my species. Favorite line from Maude, from Harold and Maude, the 1970s iconic film, if anyone gets that reference. So if this story is resonating with you, if you are hungry and ready for leveling up your life, if you're ready for the next level you, if you want to learn from others who have been through the journey, if you want to learn about human design, if you want to learn about quantum mechanics, if you want to learn about building a business that fits in alignment with you, if you love astrology, if you love little quips and maybe a tarot reading here or there, stories about gardening, this is the catch-all spot for you to feel inspired, for you to take what works for you, feel inspired by it, and move forward into the next level you. And so I hope you join me. Hit subscribe if this resonates. Share this with a friend. I'm going to have a lot more to share as I grow this platform. To be fully candid, I am very much an open book. I don't hold things close to my chest. I cuss sometimes, so this is a very authentic type of space. And I'm not going to be super smooth. I'm not going to always have like amazing graphics or whatever. Some people are really great at that. But I have a bias toward action. I have a bias toward output. It's what got me to where I'm at now with my other business that I'm selling. It got me to where I am in this life. I love it. Let's be raw. Let's be real. Let's be authentic. And as we do that, let's share with each other and encourage each other. And I hope you come back. I'm going to have all kinds of topics in all kinds of orders and really trying to help map the framework that I have used to follow the burnout recovery plan that worked for me, share the authenticity alignment framework that really worked for me, and share with you what I've been through and the joys and the inspirations that are really lighting me up. And so once again, I'm Alison Daley. Thank you for listening to this inaugural episode of The Next Level You, and I cannot wait to see what comes of it from this point forward. So say hi in the comments, send any questions, but I really look forward to the next episode with you. I hope you have an amazing day. Thanks.